New 72 Radio, the voice, views, and visions of the collective.
Welcome to Waking the Spirit. My name is Mary Berger, and I am your host for this show, this being our 11th episode. I can't believe we've actually gotten to number 11. And happy St. Patrick's Day to you. I went and grabbed the green hat. I had every intention tonight of being decked out all in green, a really nice green St. Patrick's hat and green clothes, but I had a last minute job booked for this afternoon. So, and it took most of my afternoon. It was about a 3-hour job. So lucrative, but it left me with no time to get myself decked out in St. Patrick's Day garb. So happy St. Patty's Day, top of the evening to you all, and welcome to our show. So just a little bit of logistics to begin with before I get into my topics. So we are now, like I said, on show number 11, and this is our second show where we've gone full audio and video, which is really exciting. New 72 Media and New 72 Radio, and the technical genius behind it all, Kelly Lair, have really upped their game and given us all these wonderful tools to communicate with you, and I'm very grateful for that. So the link to get to the show, most of you have probably already gotten this link if you're listening, but just for future, the link is new72media.zoom.us. Our meeting ID is 850-237-265. That will be our permanent meeting ID. That will not change. So once you get there, you're going to click on join a meeting, type in the meeting ID, you'll be prompted for your email address and your name, and you can choose to join with or without video. You can be there incognito. We don't necessarily need to see you, but if you want to join us through video, awesome. I would love that. I would love everybody to join me through video. So you also have the option of connecting through your device, iPads, iPhones, Android devices. In either of those app stores, you're going to be able to go and find the Zoom app, download that app, install it, plug in the meeting ID. I think that's how it works. And you'll be able to watch our show on your device. So a few more things once you do get connected in. If you're joining the program through your computer screen, you will see in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, there's going to be 4 boxes. You're going to have your audio settings, Q&A, chat, and raise hand. Audio settings are pretty self-explanatory. That's where you go if you need to adjust your audio. If you need the sound to be up or down a little bit, you can adjust it there. So the Q&A button is if you click on it if you have a question that you'd like to ask during the program, and you'll notice in that section that you'll have an option of asking the question anonymously if you want. This is where my producer Kelly will be able to bring you on and ask your question and or to share your comments. So you can ask a question or share comments. There's a chat button, and this is where you can chat amongst other viewers as a group or individually. So if you want to talk amongst the other viewers about the show, feel free to do that. You have full chat accessibility. But we want to point out that if you do have questions to ask, please use the Q&A access point and not the chat room. Kelly will be available in the chat room as well, so she'll be able to chat with you, but use the Q&A if you have a question. And then, of course, raise hand. That button is meant exactly as it's stated. Click on that to raise your hand. bring attention to you and your question, and Kelly will be able to get that all processed and let me know what's going on. Which reminds me, I needed to hook into Kelly here for just a moment, so let me just get there in case she has anything for me. So awesome. Okay, so and those same buttons are available to you if you connect in through a tablet or a smartphone. You have that full functionality. So with all of the logistics out of the way, let's go ahead and start the show. So I created Waking the Spirit last fall, kind of as a resource to anybody who is out there on their spiritual path, and maybe you're new to your path and you don't have a whole lot of resources. You need a community to interact with. You need information, and I'm hoping to be just one of those resources for you. And maybe sometime along the way, I can kind of point out some other resources to you as well. I am far from an expert at this, but if I don't have the information you're looking for, I will find it for you. So with all of that said, like I said, I'm not an expert at this. I'm, barely 2 years into this path that I've been on. It's been a wild, wonderful ride, and it has been life-changing for me. And I am just so very grateful to be on the path that I'm on and have the people in my circle that I have, my tribe, if you want to call them that. I have a lot of people in my circle, in my tribe, and they're all so very special, and they all kind of lend a different perspective. Everybody is doing something different. Everybody's on a different path. One of the things that I have realized while I've been on this path is that there is so much to know and so much to learn. And I really think I could spend an entire lifetime learning about this thing called spirituality. And so it's, I'm hoping that I can kind of, give you a little bit of that information as we go along through these shows. So feel free to join in, feel free to chat with everybody in the chat room, feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. We are here for you, and we want to be a resource. So what am I going to talk about tonight? I made a list. One of the things I want to talk about, the main topic I want to talk about is communication with your angels and guides. It is so super important, and you get so much valuable information from the angels and guides about your path and about various roads that they're trying to guide you down, various things they're trying to guide you into doing, signs that they're giving you that say, hey, pay attention to this. You really kind of need to do this. There is such a thing as free will, and you could decide to do whatever you want, and the angels won't interfere. And one of the things that's really important as you're communicating with your angels and guides is the fact that, if you need something from them, you have to ask. They won't just butt in and say, hey, here's this, here's that. You need to ask. If there's something you really want, you need to ask. They will gladly give you the answer. It will not be cut and dried. One of the things I've learned is that if there's something I need, I will ask, but then you have to look for the signs. And the angels don't just, open up a channel of communication, at least not for me. For some people they do. They'll open up a channel of communication and just, boom, the information is out there. But they don't just open up this channel and say, hey, Mary, this is what I want you to do now, and this is the answer to your question. They will give you signs, and those signs can be cryptic. And you have to become a master at reading the signs, understanding the signs, looking for the metaphors in the signs that you're getting. It's just so important that you really learn how to do that. And it's not easy at first. You basically have to take baby steps and decipher things as they come to you. And it's perfectly okay for you to say to the angels, hey, I don't understand the signs you're sending my way. They're just, way too cryptic for me. Can you make it a little bit more clear? Can you send me signs that are a lot more clear and easy for me to understand? You're perfectly okay in asking your angels and guides for that information. And they will accommodate you. If you ask, they will accommodate you. So don't feel shy or hesitant about doing that. So with all of that said, I have a couple of stories to tell you. Stories about things that have happened to me in the past, 2 or so weeks since we were last together. The first thing I want to talk about is this really interesting experience I had driving in the car. And it was just really, really interesting. So anyway, so I'll tell the story. And it was a couple of Sundays ago. And I was taking a class from Deborah DeFries, who is one of the owners. Deborah and Tony, husband and wife team, are the owners of New Awakenings out in Battleground. And while we're on the subject of New Awakenings out in Battleground, they closed their store last fall, but they are reopening as an internet presence. And rumor has it they're going to have a huge announcement tomorrow, and they will announce what direction they are taking next. So look for that on Facebook. Anyway, I was taking this class from Deborah, and it was a class on mind mapping. And I was, and of course, Deborah told everybody, oh, it's really easy to get to our place. Just plug it in your GPS. You can't miss it. So I'm thinking, okay, all right. So I head out, and to get to their house, of course, I had no clue where it was. And so I'm just following my GPS. And it's taking me, of course, out in the back roads in Battleground. And so I'm driving along, and I get to almost to a fork in the road, and I kind of made a wrong turn. And I realized I made a wrong turn, and I wasn't supposed to go that way. So I backtracked, got myself back on the main road. And I get to a fork in the road, and my GPS is telling me to go right. So I did. And, there was just kind of a little niggling in the back of my mind that said, I don't think this is the way you're supposed to go. But I was following my GPS. I was following Waze. I was using Waze, the Waze app. Waze is always accurate, always right. It's my go-to app because it's so accurate. So I make that right fork, the right turn. And I'm heading down this road, and I keep thinking I'm going the wrong way. And it takes me way out towards Lewis River. I cross this bridge, and I look down, and there's all this rushing water going underneath the bridge, and I'm thinking, I am way, way out of my way. So I pick up the phone, and I call Tony, and I said, Tony, I am way, way out of my way. I'm not sure where you are, but I just want to let you know that I'm going to be late. So he kind of tried to direct me back, and I, so I finally got back on a road that I thought it took me back through downtown Battleground, back out to one of the country roads that I was driving on. And I get back on the roads I was on, and I'm approaching the same fork in the road. And I kind of stop. Of course, there's nobody around. There's no traffic, no cars anywhere. So I could just kind of stop and sit there and ponder. And I thought, now the GPS is telling me that I've arrived at my destination. And I know I hadn't arrived at my destination. I mean, it's just this little country road, and there's no houses around me. And I'm at this fork in the road. So I'm thinking, what do I do now? So I finally decided that, okay, my angels and guides are telling me that I'm not meant to be at this class. I'm not meant to go to this class. So I picked up my phone, and I called Tony, and I said, Tony, it's just not going to happen. By this time, I was 40 minutes late for the class. And I said, I am not meant to be there. I don't know what force is keeping me away from this meeting. I am not meant to be there. And so he said, no problem. I'll let Deborah know. And he said, we will reschedule something else for you after the fact. So I hung up the phone, and I plug into my GPS. I just plug in the home button, I punch the home button, and So the map recalibrates and it gets the directions and it tells me to take the left fork in the road. And I take the left fork in the road, and it takes me right to Deborah and Tony's house. I mean, I was just amazed. I take the left fork in the road. There's the sign for their street, the sign for their neighborhood. I pull in, and the GPS actually took me right to their house. So the whole time I was in the class, of course, I'm paying attention to the class and I'm learning a lot in the mind mapping, but I'm trying to figure out, okay, what just happened there? What just happened? And first I was totally being blocked from making it to that meeting, and then the minute I let everything go and I declared to Tony and the universe that I'm just not going to be able to make it, boom, the doors opened for me and I was escorted right into the meeting. And I knew I was meant to be there. I knew I was. And it was such a good class. I learned so much from it. But I kind of analyzed it later, and I kind of figured out what that force was. And, I kind of settled my mind with it and, made peace with it. So it was just really interesting, because you are going to get signs like that where you're going to be blocked from doing things, and then you're going to be unblocked from doing things, and you're not going to necessarily know right away, why is it that I was blocked from going to this meeting, and why is it that all of a sudden now the gates open and I'm allowed to go into this meeting. So you need to pay attention to that kind of stuff. And it used to be in the past, before I was spiritually inclined, something like this would happen where I was blocked from getting to where I needed to go. And I'd get really frustrated and I'd get really upset, and upset because, things weren't going my way. And but now that, I know that there's a reason why I was being blocked, I can kind of just sit back and relax and kind of go with the flow and say, okay, all right, for whatever reason, I'm not supposed to be at that meeting. And the more you travel along your own spiritual path, the more you'll figure out that, when these forces are blocking you, don't resist it. Don't resist it. It's really important that you don't resist it, that you just kind of, sit back and, go downstream on that little canoe instead of, going upstream and paddling, and just wearing yourself out trying to do something that you're not meant to do. So I think that's kind of one of the first messages I wanted to give you tonight, was just sit back, relax, go with the flow, and don't let the blockages upset you, because the blockages are going to come your way and you don't want them to upset you. You just kind of need to go with it and know that there's a reason why these blockages are there, and maybe just try and figure it out so that you can kind of unblock it. And by figuring it out, I'm meaning just, kind of just go with the flow, go downstream with it, and the answers will come to you. They will. So the next story I want to tell you, and I have 3 hats prepared tonight for St. Patrick's Day. So this is my first green hat with Mickey Mouse. This is my second green hat, so I'll change hats. I want to be festive for you all. So okay, so the next thing I want to tell you about, listening to signs from your angels, has to do with something that happened to me. I think it was Monday morning this week. So I wake up from a deep sleep. I don't remember what time it was. It was probably close to time to get up. And I had a series of numbers running through my head. And the numbers were 10, 83, 10 again, 5, and 3. So in my best numerology, I put my best numerology hat on, and I decided, okay, I'm going to take these numbers and I'm going to factor them down to their lowest common denominator, and I'm going to figure out what that is. So the first thing I did was I pulled out my phone and sent an email to myself with the list of those numbers, because I didn't want to forget what they were. So with that done, I sat there and I thought, okay, first number was 10. If I reduce that down, I get 1. Okay, so 1. So the second number was 83. If I reduce that down, first I add 8 and 3, which gives me 11. And you don't want to reduce 11 down. So now I've got number 1 and I've got number 11. So then, of course, I have number 10 again. Reduce that down, you get number 1. So I've got 4 ones, and I'm thinking, wow, this is kind of cool, because 1 is just like one of those special numbers that basically says whatever you're thinking at this time, you are manifesting like crazy. So be very careful what it is you're thinking about. The fourth number was number 5. And and the fifth number was number 3. And even though the numbers in my head were in a list, 10, 83, 10, 5, 3, I took 5, 3 and thought, okay, that's 53. And so I added up 5 and 3 and it's 8. So it reduces down to 8, which is the number of abundance. So I thought, oh, I've got 4 ones and an 8. How cool is that? And, I was pretty happy about that. But I thought, no, you can't do it that way. Those numbers were given to you in a list. And they were given to you by your angels or guides. And you need to figure out what those numbers mean. So the first thing I did was I opened up, and I'm going to show you the book here, Doreen Virtue, Angel Numbers 101. Let's see if I can show this here. There we go. At any rate, Doreen Virtue, Angel Numbers 101. I have it on all of my devices. It's just a Kindle book. And I keep that with me wherever I go, because you never know when you're going to get a sequence of numbers that you want to look up and figure out what they mean. Because oftentimes by the time I make it home, I'm going to forget. So, and I'm just going to pull up the book here on my iPad, which is off over here to the right. So we start out with number 10, the first number on the list. So I'm reading the book, and I'm going to read to you the description of number 10. It says, God wants you to hold positive thoughts about this situation, as everything is working out for your highest good. Call upon God to help you stay optimistic, as your thoughts are an influencing factor in the outcome. So I'm basically being told by my angels and guides that, keep your thoughts positive. Keep them positive. Because whatever it is I'm dealing with in my life right now, my thoughts are an influence. They are a factor. So I need to keep my thoughts positive. So second number, 83. I'm just going to quickly scroll through the book here. 83 says, the Ascended Masters have heard and answered your prayers about your financial needs. So I own a business, computer repair business called Computer Diva. I work I'm on my own. I don't have any employees except for my trusty and wonderful assistant. And but I'm the only one out there doing the work. I'm the only one bringing in the money. So on a monthly basis, on a daily basis, I go through the numbers. I crunch numbers, and I am always making projections about, okay, what's our cash flow? Are we having enough money coming in to pay the bills that are coming up in the next week? So it's just a constant thing that anybody who owns a business goes through. It's a lot different than having a steady paycheck. At least when I had a steady paycheck, I knew that on a certain day every month, this much money was going to go in my bank account, and I can count on it until the job is no longer there. So, but being a small business owner, it's different. You think about cash flow on a daily basis. And right now my business is not at the point where I've got a gazillion months worth of cash sitting around to pay my bills. So, it's a constant management thing. So I'm constantly thinking about cash flow and money. So number 83, the Ascended Masters have heard and answered your prayers about your financial needs. Kind of cool. I love that. And I get that message all the time. And I've gotten it so often that I'm at the point now where I don't worry about it anymore. I know that, if it's time to pay XYZ bill, that somehow the money will be there to pay it. So going back, now the third number, we had number 10 again. So number 10, God wants you to hold positive thoughts about this situation as everything is working out for your highest good. The situation, I guess, would be my financials. So I need to hold positive thoughts and call upon God to help you stay optimistic, as your thoughts are an influencing factor in the outcome. So I got to thinking about this, and I thought, okay, we had a number 10, and we had the 83, and we have the 10 over here. So it's basically the 83 telling me that the ascended masters are there, and they've answered my prayers about the financial situation, flanked by 10, where I'm being told on either side of that to keep my thoughts positive about the situation. So message loud and clear there. Just keep your thoughts positive. So that's what they were telling me about that. So then we get to our fourth number, number 5. And number 5 in the Angel Book of Numbers says a significant change is occurring always for the better. A significant change is occurring always for the better. It's a good idea to call upon heaven for help with life changes. Significant change for the better. I have to be happy about that. I mean, that's really awesome. So if we take that and wrap it up with the first 3 numbers, I'm assuming that the significant change means there will be a significant change in my cash flow for the better. So, excuse me, that's pretty awesome. And then the last number, number 3. Number 3 says, the ascended masters are helping you. Usually this means an ascended master you feel close to. For example, Jesus, Kuan Yin, a saint, or some other spiritual religious figure. So that's the second time that the word ascended masters had come into the numbers in these series of 5 numbers. And I happen to know who that ascended master is. And I actually went into my Goddess Guidance Oracle deck, the very first deck of cards I ever got, and I pulled out the Athena card. Athena, let's see if I can get that to you. There, I think that's probably your best view. Athena is the ascended master who is with me. I've been getting messages for 2 years about Athena being with me. The first time was when I had done a past life regression class with my good friend Amira Beth, who is now living in Hawaii. We had talked about the fact that there was an ascended master with me, and she pulled out 2 cards from this particular deck, and she kind of looked at them, and she's very, very intuitive, very, very intuitive, very tapped in. And she pointed to the Athena card and she said, that's the one. And interesting story, that same day, a friend of mine, Cinda, my friend Cinda, had been on a walk in the morning with a friend, and they're in a neighborhood, and for whatever reason they stop at a corner, and Cinda looks up at the street signs, and they were at the corner of, I think, Artemis and Athena. And she snapped a photo of the Athena sign. She didn't know why. And so later on that afternoon, I was telling her the story about Amira Beth pulling the Athena card, and Cinda said, oh my God, she said, I have a photo to send to you. So she sent me the Athena photo. So, that all kind of happened for a reason. That's kind of a way in which your angels and guides send you signs. They could be signs that are delivered to you from somebody else. So twice in the same day, I kind of got the Athena is with you, got the Athena sign. And it's been a constant sign that has been given to me for 2 years now. So I know that Athena is always there with me and guiding me in ways that most of the time I probably am not aware of. But she is the ascended master that is with me and helping me to go down my path. So it was just really interesting how, you get this significant message. I got this significant message just by the fact that I woke up in the morning and I had a series of numbers running through my head. And the more you practice with signs from your angels and guides, the better you are going to get at recognizing the fact that something coming at you is actually a sign. You will just know. So, you know, I think what I want to say about this particular thing is that, you know, just kind of play with it. You know, just keep your eyes open as you're going through your day-to-day activities. Keep your eyes open for signs that may be coming your way. And you're going to know when it's a sign. And you're not going to question it. You're going to know instantly that, you know, that dime you see on the ground is from your departed grandmother, and that feather you see on the road is maybe from one of your guides. And it's maybe confirmation of something you were just thinking about. Maybe you were thinking about a situation in your head, and all of a sudden you see one of these signs. And it's a sign that what you were thinking is accurate and correct. So I think what I want to say is just play with it and just have fun with the signs, because they're fun. This life, your life and your path is meant to be fun. You are not meant to go through life struggling. You are not meant to go through life being sad. You are meant to go through life having fun. You are meant to go through life filled with joy, filled with gratitude, and filled with love. And so have fun with your path and have fun with the signs that are given to you. So next story, next hat. Okay, so this is my my gorge dog hat. And this is a very light green. We may have to take this off after a while because it's kind of bright. So anyway, hat number 3, story number 3. So the next thing I want to talk to you about, which is really, really interesting, and especially to me, because of a couple of things that have happened to me recently. But so, you know, my dad passed away almost a month ago. He passed away on February 22nd. And the day before he passed away, I was having a reading with Deborah DeFries at New Awakenings. There's that name again. And, you know, she had said to me, she said, you know, Mary, when your dad passes on, he will send you signs within a couple of days. He's going to start sending you signs of his presence. And as you're going through the process of this whole Emily May project, he will kind of be like a business partner for you as you kind of grow and figure out what this business is. He's going to be kind of guiding you through it. So, you know, I was thinking, and I truly did get signs from my dad within the first week of his passing. I got several, but then it's been a couple of weeks and I haven't had anything. So this morning I was thinking, you know, I need to figure out how it is that my dad and I are going to be working together for this business. And so I thought, duh, you know, Angels 101, you need to ask them for what you need. So I sat there and I asked them, I said, you know, how am I going to be collaborating with my dad on this business that I'm trying to figure out what it is? And how is he going to be helping me with this? And so the first message I got was, you have to pull out the book that your dad wrote several years ago. And I actually did. My dad wrote this book, and that's my dad on the cover. And it is called The Life and Adventures of John Harvey Jack Berger. Because his name is John, but everybody called him Jack. And he probably finished this book 5 or 6 years ago and sent me a copy. And it's his autobiography. And it's pretty detailed. And it goes into his life on the farm when he was a boy, and then when he went into the Navy, and all his adventures in the Navy, and then his civilian life after Navy retirement, 23 years, I think. My sister would know better. and then retirement. And post Navy and retirement weren't as extensive as his Navy career, but then he spent most of his time in the Navy. So the message I got was, get this book out. It was on a bookshelf down in my family room, and read it. And that will connect you to your dad's energy. And I'll be better able after reading this to kind of recognize my dad's energy and connect with him and communicate and collaborate. So I didn't do it this morning because I was rushed, but about an hour and a half ago, when I got home, I went to the bookshelf and I pulled it out. And I was just kind of flipping through it. And I don't ever think I really read this from cover to cover. I think when he sent it to me, I kind of, perused through it. Of course, me being me, I looked for the part where I was born. I wanted to know that story first, which I think all of us would probably do. But as I'm going through this, okay, so my dad was in the Navy, and he started out his Navy career in what they call CBC. And CBC was Mobile Construction Battalion. And there were several of these mobile construction battalions. Now, this is in the late 50s, early 60s. And he started out in Mobile Construction Battalion, or did I say CBC? I meant MCB, Mobile Construction Battalion 3, which was stationed in Okinawa. So once that tour of duty was over with, he knew that he would eventually have another assignment, and he wanted to be assigned to MCB 10. He had a friend in that unit, and that's where he wanted to be assigned. Well, when it came time for him to be assigned to this unit, he was told he would be assigned to it, but then at the last minute, he was told that unit is being deployed to Vietnam, and it's not time for you to go to Vietnam yet, so we're putting you in MCB 11. And I'm thinking, 11, okay. So that's an interesting number. And the more I went through this book, I then got to a section probably several years later when he was done with MCB 11, and he actually went into the CBs. And the CBs are a unit who there were a group of 13 people who were deployed to third world countries who would build infrastructure and teach the locals how to build the infrastructure. So it wasn't, going there to give them fish, they were teaching them how to fish. And he was actually deployed to Taiwan, or was it Thailand? I don't remember which one, but it was either Taiwan or Thailand. If I actually read through this book, I would pull it out. But my point here is he was assigned to CB Team 1111. And my mind was blown as I was going through this book, and first seeing he was on MCB 11, and then he was on CB Team 1111. And I just think that that was a sign for me. An hour and a half ago, was a sign for me that that I was on the right track with pulling this book out and reading through it. So now I'm probably this weekend I'll read that book cover to cover and kind of get in touch with my dad's energy and see if I can better connect and communicate with him as we go through this project of building this business. So signs are everywhere. Be open to it. So that's my third story. Now, along the lines of Emily May, I want to give you all a little bit of an update on my Emily May project, and I've talked about that on a couple of shows now, where I had this dream at the end of last year that I was given this little baby to take care of, one day old baby. I didn't know what to do with her, blah, 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 blah. It was such a real dream to me that I bought the domain emilymae.com, EMILEEMAE.com, and I have basically spent the past 2.5 months following signs from my guides and angels on what this is all about. And I still don't know what it's all about, except that in my mind it's a creative project, and it's eventually going to be a business. So, and it's the business that I'm going to be collaborating with my dad on. So, when one of the things I did when I was following the signs, I was with a friend of mine, and she said, we need to, in order to attract Emily May to you, we should buy her a gift. So we went to this little store, and the gift I bought is on the front page of the Emily May website, but it's this little shoe, this little baby shoe. It's just a little denim baby shoe with pink polka dots, and it's got pink shoelaces. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I was at a job this afternoon where I was sitting in somebody's home office, and I was sitting on the couch. I had a laptop on my lap, and I'm programming their new modem. And I get the programming done, I press enter, and I have to wait for the modem to boot. So I'm just kind of sitting there looking around, and I look up on the window ledge, and there's a pair of shoes. And I'm actually going to bring that up onto the screen. Let's see, so you can see them. So I see this pair of shoes sitting on the windowsill, and they're obviously very, very old shoes. And but it just struck me, there's just a pair of baby shoes with the pink shoelaces. And in my mind, that was really kind of a sign about the whole Emily May project, and possibly a sign that I'm still on the right track, and I just need to go forth and continue with the project, and see where it takes me. So anyway, I kind of had to share that picture with everyone because it was just so timely with everything else that's going on right now. So anyway, the Emily May project is still going forth. And so one of the things that I learned from my reading with Deborah DeFries, which was about a month ago, was that in order to kind of bridge me between my existing business and the new business with Emily May that will be coming up sometime in the future, I needed to create a steady income stream to kind of transition me or bridge me from one business to the next. I don't know where the old business will leave off and where the new business will start, and they'll probably merge, and I'll be doing both businesses at the same time. So my project right now is to create these bridge products that I could sell to generate a steady stream of income. What I've kind of birthed and imagined and dreamed is a candle, and I'm calling it the technology candle. And I have a good friend, Jamie Reilly, and her business is called The Art of Awen, and I hope, Jamie, I'm pronouncing that correctly. I should have asked you beforehand. Awen or Awen, A-W-E-N. And Jamie is a candle maker. She is a brilliant candle maker. And I've got one of them burning over there, but I've got a couple over there. I'm going to bring one down and show it to you. This is called the Inner Peace Candle. But anyway, what Jamie does is she takes these jars, clear glass jars, she fills them with soy wax, and also what goes into the jars, they could be various crystals, depending on the subject of the candle. They can be herbs, dried flowers, anything that pertains to the subject matter of the candle. And she makes these with intention. When she comes up with the subject, she comes up with the ingredients, and then she comes up with the intention that she's going to infuse into these candles. And she might make them on particular days. I'm sure when she came up with the new moon candle, that she might have manufactured those or created those or made those on the day of the new moon. And it put that new moon energy into the candle. But she will say a prayer over the candles as she's manufacturing them. And she makes them with a lot of love and a lot of care. So I thought, I want to make a technology candle, a candle that will basically allow the energy of the computer and the energy of the computer user to kind of be in sync and at peace with each other. Because there's a lot of people out there who, number one, they don't like their computers. They don't like technology. So they get mad at the computers, and they tend to treat them badly. And then the computers will have reactions to it. And it's a very long story, and I'm not going to get into all of it now, but I work with a lot of that, and I work with calming the energies of the computers, and Reiki on computers. And so I thought, what better thing than to make a candle that the user can put next to their computer and light, and kind of even out the energies between the two. And there's a lot of people out there who also have such strong energy fields that it affects technology and it breaks technology. My grandmother was one of them. And so I sat down, and of course, using Deborah DeFries's mind mapping techniques that I learned in that class that I wasn't supposed to go to, that I did make it to, I mapped out all the qualities of this candle. And so Jamie and I, we finalized it all. She has, I'm assuming, has gotten the materials for the candles, and they will be made next Wednesday. I'm making 3 beta candles to begin with. And the candles will have, of course, the soy wax in them. They are going to have sodalite and black obsidian. The sodalite is to kind of absorb the electromagnetic smog from the computer. Instead of it going out this way, it's going to go towards the candle, keep that away from you. The black obsidian is to kind of transmute the anger that may be surrounding the computer because of how it's being treated. And then there's going to be dried sage and some rose petals, and my mind went like lavender. Lavender is the 5th ingredient. So they will be made next Wednesday, 3 beta test candles, 1 for me, and I've got 2 people who are actually going to test these candles, 2 very spiritually aware people who will be able to kind of use these candles and feel the energies and give me some feedback on maybe we need to alter one of the ingredients. Maybe they're fine. Maybe they don't need to be altered. But anyway, that is my first, what I'm calling bridge product that I will be selling on my website. And I have ideas for more. I have ideas for a lot more. I have ideas for candles. I have ideas for classes, computer-related classes. So keep an eye out, because there's a lot coming down the pike, and I'm going to be doing a lot. And I basically want to provide you all with products that you will find useful. So at any rate, it's going to be similar to this, but it's going to be called the Technology Candle with a picture of Archangel Michael on the label. So I would say in the next month, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. I will put these out there, and you will be able to purchase your very own technology candle. So with that said, how are we doing for time? 7:47. We're doing really, really good. So as we come to a close, there are a couple of announcements that I want to make. First of all, this Saturday, March 19th at 11 a.m. Pacific time, there is going to be a live webinar from Susan Grace, who is a very talented astrologer. SusanGrace.org, I believe, is her website. She has done a reading for me. She's done a reading for many of my friends. And Kelly's telling me to check the chat thread. There may be a couple of comments for me. So, and I'll check that in a minute once I finish talking about Susan Grace. So she's going to be doing a live webinar, 11 a.m. It's $22. You can also find her on Facebook. Sign up for it. It's probably going to be money well spent. I'm so looking forward to it. And the subject that she'll be talking about is the eclipse season in spring of 2016, because we are right between 2 eclipses. We have the full solar eclipse last week. Next Wednesday, we are having the lunar eclipse and the full moon all at the same time. The solar eclipse was with the new moon. Did I say new moon for here? New moon, which was about a week and a half ago. Full moon next Wednesday with the lunar eclipse. And there's all sorts of energies and things that are swirling around this. It's going to be an intense, interesting time. And Susan Grace's webinar is going to be awesome. So somebody runs with scissors needs to buy several of my candles. She wants to order a dozen of the candles. I think it's a she, I don't know. She says, I love my computers, but they could definitely benefit from its healing energies. So yeah, we'll make sure that you have that opportunity. Oh, that's bad. Okay, so thank you. So anyway, Susan Grace, susangrace.org, sign up for her webinar, find her on Facebook. She's extremely talented. She will do a daily posting on Facebook with the energies of the astrological chart, and then she will write almost poetry. What she writes every day is just beautiful, just beautiful. So so check that out. So that is this Saturday, March 19th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And another announcement on Sunday, May 15th from 1 to 4 p.m. in Portland, Oregon at the Elysian Ballroom, I hope I pronounced that correctly, will be a seminar called Empowered, an Experiential Women's Retreat, hosted by Jennifer Elise. Jennifer is a fabulous photographer, and she is also a New 72 radio show host. And so she's putting on this 3 hours of a women's retreat, and she's having all sorts of speakers, and my good friend Cinda Wansway will be one of the featured speakers. So we're very excited about that. You can check Jennifer Elise out, ALYSE. Check her out on Facebook. I believe her website might be jenniferelise.com. I'm sorry I didn't get that for you. But check that out. So those are my 2 announcements. So I want to say that I want to say thank you to everybody who has consistently been with me through this evolution of the radio show. Now that we're on video, it's really cool to have these tools and be able to have a chat room and kind of see what you guys are chatting about. Feel free to always jump in and ask me questions, but I just want to say thank you to all of you for sticking with me and listening to this show, watching this show. You know, when the show first started out, I had a script and I stuck to that script, and I just wasn't comfortable ad-libbing. And I'm now at the point now where I have my script, but I just have a few outlines of topics that I want to talk about, and I just run with it. And it's a lot of fun to sit here and give you guys this information and chat with you, and just kind of be part of the collective of energy that we all bring to each other. So, excuse me. Thank you very much for being with me. Thank you to New 72 Media and New 72 Radio, and Kelly Lair, our wonderful producer, for being behind the scenes, putting this all together, upping her game, giving us video and chat room capabilities. You're wonderful, Kelly. Thank you so much. So with that said, I will say goodbye and good evening, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Go out and drink some green beer, but please be safe if you go out on the road. And I will be back here in 2 weeks from tonight, where I am going to have some guests. So I almost forgot about this. My guests are going to be, they are these fabulous women. I'm just going to pull up their Facebook page on my iPad over here. Teresa and Deborah, they are very spiritual people, and I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it, but they extremely talented. Both of them are extremely talented. I went to their place of business yesterday and chatted with them. They gave me a tour of the business, and I talked to them all about what it is they do. And so I'm not going to spill any beans here. A lot of you may know them, but I'm not going to spill any beans and tell you what they do. Just tune in 2 weeks from tonight, and they're going to be on the show. They're going to chat with us, and we're going to have a great time. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.